So to face Rockwell on Aberration, you're going to need to get artifacts, and there's 3 artifacts to collect on Aberration, just like ASE, the Depths, the Shadows, and the Stalker, with varying difficulties between the artifacts, so you might want a few tips to figure out how to get in them, and maybe even loot yourself some decent gear from within the drops in those artifact caves. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and let's get into it. Okay, on to the first and easiest of the 3, the Artifact of the Depths, found at 48.3, 27.2, right by the portal spawn. You can't miss it. Well, you can miss it because it's quite sunken away within a cave, but very easy to get to, and is going to be your go-to if you want to tame glowtails. You might not know this. These are where a lot of them exist for you to tame, and a very, very straightforward cave to run through with some suggested items such as parachutes, zipline motors, and climbing picks, but you can actually just run straight through there with one single parachute if you know what to do. Just good to be prepared, because there's a lot of different creatures in there, from Ravagers to Sarcos to Arthros, Raptors, even Karkinos can exist within here if you're not too careful. But there's one quick, easy route with a jump along the way. You're going to have to be mindful of that fall below, but if you can get across that gap using either zip lines or parachutes, go through the tunnel all the way through to the end, pick off any dirty enemies that you might find along that route, and just keep following the ledge around within the final room. You should be able to see the artifacts within your grasp, and there is your very first artifact ready to set you up for your very first boss fight. Here's me running it on foot, and look, one parachute, you can make it all the way there. It's a bit dicey. I mean, yeah, it was pretty touch and go whether I was going to get to the ledge with that one parachute, but it can be done. Zip lines, of course, guarantees you a bit more safety. Don't forget, I'm doing this without movement speed as well, and you know, if you're on unofficial, you got movement speed on top of that as well as the cave looking absolutely gorgeous, and absolutely no ads in here for some reason. I think we accidentally had a dino wipe just before I did this, so you know, expect to fight a lot more than what I'm fighting here, that's for sure. But it is one parachute, and artifact is there for you, ready to nab. Job done. And on to the Shadows. Quite a very OP spot if you're a PvPer and want a good base location. In fact, the best base location to building. Located at 55.2, 65.9. I'm going to need a bit of prep for this one, because as you can see right from the off, it's in the water. You're going to need to dive down into this. So scuba is certainly something you're going to want, as well as a light pet, because Nameless are all down within this cave. Popping out the top, you've got a drop to fall down and many creatures to be mindful of, from eels to, yes, once again, Nameless, Karkinos, Barrys, Arthros, Sarcos, jellyfish and seekers, and certainly a leap of faith as you run through a cave system all the way to a crouch cave, pop at the other end into a big connecting room with 2 routes to this artifact cave, and my preference is to go to the lower route. It's just more straightforward for this guide, really, with you having to drop down through to a tunnel that goes underwater, mine those jellyfish and eels, through a land section, through another water section, go all the way through to the end to find yourself in the artifact room with one single ramp just circling all the way around the back to collect your second artifact. So yeah, as mentioned, you're going to need a nice selection of gear. First thing being scuba. Flippers is an absolute must to get through this section. Of course, creatures are certainly helpful as well, and there's a bunch of them. Barrys are pretty good for this if you've got cryos available. But yeah, watch out for things like these eels. You will find them in the water. Popping it over the top, you're going to parachute right through to that cave section there, as mentioned before. And yeah, watch it for Nameless here. They will spawn here, as well as a bunch of Arthros that are definitely going to be in your face if you're not too careful. Run through to the ends, and again, that lower section there, if you aim it right, here's me showing where to shoot without using a HUD, just because I'm showing off. And if you aim it perfect, you'll get the perfect zipline shot that takes you all the way down to the section that you need to, of course needing a zipline motor to get back up. Now in the water section, you're going to encounter a bunch of eels, I would probably strongly recommend to back up first and take out all of the ads before you dive through. You're likely going to find a Carcinos in the face of this tunnel, as well as, of course, jellyfish. Once you've taken them all out bit by bit, hey presto, you got a nice little swim for you around the corner. Again, keep mindful of any more jellyfish and eels, though for some bizarre reason these weren't aggroing to me during this run. I don't know why, don't know how, but they weren't until I got right round to the edge. But yeah, maybe push my luck here. But wearing primitive flak, look, you can just about get through, but you know, a creature's always a benefit as well. And then pushing out, I mean, if you're on foot, I would probably hug the left and run round to the left, but if you're on a creature, you can zip straight through the middle. And again, yeah, nameless are going to pop out if you haven't got a light pet on you. But if you've got a good strong set of gear and a good gun, on foot is totally doable. There, yeah, jump into the water at the end and you're going to swim down through this. Again, the same deal. You're going to find eels, you're going to find jellyfish, you're going to find sarcos. So you really, really need to be mindful of probably pulling all of these out of the water first to kill, unless you've got a really handy, good quality sword to chop away. If you're wearing good gear on top, you can just about cinch your way through it and simply swim through to the other end of this pool once you've killed everything in the area. And when popping out the other side, be mindful to unequip your flippers once again, because you're definitely going to run into more dirty things. Probably a few seekers, possibly even worse in here. Certainly nameless if you haven't got that bull pet on your shoulder. Make sure you have. But once you run all the way to the tippity top, you'll find your artifact waiting within your grasp. Chien. Just now you got to get all the way back up the way you came down. So, artifact of the Stalker. As you can see, it's in the red zone, so prevents a challenge for you right off the bat. You're going to need hazard gear, and it's a very difficult cave to find. There's a route I'll show you later on how to find the cave entrance, but once into the cave entrance, you're going to navigate up a few ledges and then brave the dirty giant halls of absolute hell, full of carnos, full of megalos, full of lots of dirty things waiting to bite your face off. So you really do want to be prepared for this. The easiest way to tackle this is with a rock drake, but I'm going to show you how to do it on foot because, you know, try to be cocky. So once you've popped out the straightforward corridor, you're kind of going to want to bear left and look straight up. You want to get as high as you possibly can. Get to these ledges right at the top, and once you're up there, you're going to navigate the ledges all the way around the ceiling to find the corridor through to your artifact room. It can certainly be a bit confusing, especially even looking at this spectator footage, but trust me, this is the route you want to take. This is the easiest route, and once you've learnt it, you won't do it a different way. Again, if you've got a rock drake, you're laughing with this one. Find your way to the tippity top by passing more ads like scorpions and arthros, and you will finally find your artifact hidden away, pretty well tucked away within the top of the cave. So how to get there? Now, here's the route you want to take. There's the portal down to the Rock Drake cave. We're going to look for this opening here. See the one I'm looking at? See this little alcove here? You want to head straight to that and keep as high as you possibly can with a glider suit. Keep going straight through it and keep going straight until you see this little opening here. That's what you want to head for as your kind of first spot to line you up, to keep following the ceiling straight along, hug the left wall and find your way to the artifact cave entrance. Trust me, you're still going to get confused. I still get confused, but this is the most direct route if you're attempting to get here on foot, and can be done. Once you've entered the artifact cave, one zip line shot from the floor all the way to as close to the ceiling as possible, getting yourself all the way to the top and jumping at the right time, popping on your glider suit will see you glide all the way through to the main big room. But what I do is bend round to the left, drop here, throw down a zip line as quick as you possibly can and throw it up to the route that I talked about earlier, up to the top left. Get yourself up there with a bunch of zip lines. Climbing picks are essential for this in case you mess up navigating your way around. And it's, again, as I mentioned before, Get nice and high, hug the left, keep going as high as you possibly can until you find a bunch of ledges sticking out along the ceiling. And you can see I even messed up here, but managed to cling onto a ledge just below them, which sort of worked, as this is going to navigate you to the next set of ledges. From there, just another zip line to get you even closer. Here's me looking around to give you a rough idea of where I'm going. And there's the ledge that we need to get to, which I could have just put a zip line to, but admittedly it's changed a bit in ASA, so I needed to gather my bearings. But following these ledges all the way around will take you through to the main ledge, leading you through to where the artifact is. One more corridor to run through, and it's plain sailing all the way through to the last and remaining artifact, ready for you to grab to take on the big bad dirty rock. Well, just be mindful of any ads around if you are on foot, and get the hell out of Dodge. Good luck getting out the same way you came in, though. It ain't gonna be easy doing it on foot. And that's it. That should knock yourself out. There's better ways to do these. Obviously, using creatures is going to benefit you a heck of a lot more. But if you really want to do these bare bones and on foot, now you know. Until the next one, my name's Ross Clark. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, peace out.